Hey Jason, this is Derek. Messing around with this Screencast-O-Matic. I made a screencast yesterday using this for my students' parents, I guess. I actually embed a QR code into my syllabus that they can scan. It pulls up a YouTube video of me, and I just gave like a 10-minute introduction of myself, talked about my classroom. Um, I don't know if anyone will view it or not. I can actually track it on YouTube, so we'll see. But I thought I'd give it a shot. It's really easy. So I'm going to do this real quick with Khan Academy, and I'll just share it with you. I think it should pull up as a YouTube video. Hopefully you should be able to view YouTube even if you're at school through your webtop. I'm sure you know that. Okay, so Jason, I log in, and like my students at Ripley, they'll log in with their Google Apps account. Um, I'll talk to you about your situation because I don't think Williamstown has Google Apps account. The students won't, but for you, you just create an account. Honestly, I just sign in with Google. I use my personal Google because it actually benefited me now because I moved. So if I had used a school account specifically, anyways, I just use my personal stuff. But I sign in with Google. You can sign in anyway, make an account. Okay, this is going to load my page. It's going to look a little different for the students, but there's a ton of coach resources. I know that sometimes it's hard just to read a tutorial or watch a video and figure out how to do it, but there are a lot of helpful stuff. Simple ways to use it, mission, monitor students' progress. You can see the ones that I've checked out, but I haven't looked at them all. Section for parents. But anyways, let's go back to home. Okay, it's pretty easy to add a class. Go to manage students, and over here you could create a class. Like I need to rearrange these. I don't have a second period. You create a class. I'm just gonna go into my first period. Obviously I need to get rid of these, so let's do that. These are last year's. Remove. I'm gonna do stop coaching. That should remove them. Okay, I think it did. So when you go to add new students, here's how I did it last year at Blennerhassett, the last couple years. I added them without an email. Right here, create account for your students without email. Since I'm sure, I don't know what your caseload's like, but I don't imagine you've got 100 or 120 students. So it wouldn't take you too long to just create them yourself. Their username, just something like Derek Oldfield, 15 or 14, or I put 15 for 2015. Their password should be their 960 or 0 number, something they'll remember. You probably won't have to mess with this. No one should be under 13. And create student, and it pops it in. All you need to do is share with them their username and password. And if you have all that, in fact, if you make it first last name with a 15 on it, you ought to remember it. You don't even have to look at a list. That's how I recommend doing that if you want to give it a shot. I'm going to hit done. Let's go back. Let's assume that you have a class. So what's this system of exercises all about? The students will log in. They'll look like this. I'll go to my learning home. This is a view that they'll see as a student. And to be honest with you, Jason, most of the time, I just tell them an exercise, and they go up here to the search bar, and they type it in. So let's say like combining like terms. They're probably a very basic algebra set, here. If you were a student, you probably click on that right there. It says 6th grade. It's a content standard in 6th grade. So what's it bring up? It brings up an exercise. You look over here on the left, you're going to see how Khan Academy tailors their instruction, and it's all linear. So what they would recommend is the students watch the video. There's a second video, there's a third video, and then they should be ready. This is without any teacher present, obviously. They should be ready to tackle this exercise. Obviously, you can do all this stuff. You don't even have to use the videos. Even Sal Khan himself, I've watched about every interview he's ever done. He even says himself, the videos are the least valuable portion of his whole system. So this would just be in the case that somebody in Nepal, doesn't have access to a teacher or something. So I just take them straight to the exercise and then they try. You can see, what would this be? I could see a student putting something like 8z plus 3. Or if they didn't know, they may even try to add 8z and 3 and get 11z. They check the answer. Incorrect answer, please try again. And it's all you're going to mark this question as wrong. Now, I can ask for hints. In fact, you can ask for so many hints, it just gives you the answer. You can look through the procedure if you want to. I try to model this with the students. You have to talk about how to do this. 2z plus 3, so they go up and edit their answer. 2z plus 3. And go. Now, it says correct next question, but notice the system is counting this incorrect because it knows I got it wrong the first try. There was a video here too that students can access. They click on the video, it pops up. They get a little mini instruction about what's going on here. Next question. Say that they get this one right. I'll just do it real quick so you can see. Plus 2. They could also do 2 plus 6q. It would still count it right. No big deal. Oh, I got that one right. And then you see what the system says here is the student has to get 5 correct in a row to be deemed proficient in that particular skill. So we're talking, early stages of Khan Academy. You just want to access, give your students some access to a system of problems that checks them for them. They get immediate feedback on the problem. And then, I think this is more a higher quality than saying, why don't we do 20 problems out of the textbook, do numbers 15 through 35, for homework or whatever, and they bring it back the next day, and then you got to check them all. Students could have done 20 problems wrong in a row without even knowing it because they didn't get that immediate feedback. So I definitely like working out problems on a system like this because they do get that immediate feedback. Afterwards, I guess, what would be your role? And here's some of the things I do, Jason. I would go to, I don't want to make students this and not going to work. No, I think it will. I would go to something like skill progress. Let's look at there's all kinds of charts, and a monkey can figure out what they are. You just have to experiment with them. I say, I'm not even talking about missions right now. I don't know. I have never used that aspect in a classroom. So within the missions, I'm going to say, yesterday during first period, I went over combining like terms, and I asked my students to try some of them, and I gave them, half hour in the class to work out problems. So let's try combining like terms. Crap, my phone's ringing. Let's see, what is it? Combining like terms. Well, you would notice that the exercise I'm looking for isn't showing up, but let's do combining like terms with distribution and negative numbers. I don't know if my students last year did this. Oh, the class you selected is empty to add students. Crap. I don't know if I have a class that's not empty. Fourth period, fifth period. See, I already deleted them all. Crap. I tell you what, I can show you. Oh, wait. Was there something loading there? Oh, fifth period. Didn't delete. Okay. Okay, so let's look at this. Again, back to the example. You had your students do this. I use this graph a lot, Jason. Let's look at, this could be the previous day, for example. I noticed some students who are struggling. I noticed some students here that didn't even get started. That's what needs practice means. It means they're in the gray. That means they haven't even attempted it one time. I think perhaps there'll be 1 or 2 people in there that may have attempted it once. Basically, they haven't done anywhere near enough for the system to say, well, they're either struggling or they got it. Like they've done either 0 problems or maybe 1 or 2. In this case, these students have done several problems. And then in this case, practice, that means this student, Kyra and Ryan, were able to get their 5 in a row, and the system deemed them proficient. Now, I'll talk a minute here about what these other levels mean, but that just means that at one point in time, they did get 5 in a row correct. So, the second day in class, if you're still on combining like terms, Now you've got a couple peer tutors to help check problems or help offer support to other students. I use dry erase boards and and markers all the time in my classroom, and I just walk around with a marker and a dry erase board and a towel in my hand. So the next day, I may offer Kyra and Ryan the same thing. I may say, hey, instead of going to the computer, do you want to carry a whiteboard marker and just go around and offer support? Normally they want to, and we just have a short conversation about the difference between helping and telling. Let's go to Josie. If you open up her graph, you're going to see the last 35 problems that she has attempted. Now notice I had to set the activity report. You can set that. Let's just go to all time, just in case she did some before April 15th. Doesn't look like she did. At this point, Josie has only attempted 6 problems. But notice, she needed a hint. That's what the question mark means, Jason. She needed a hint on every one of those, all 6. Now, I think these are too old, but if it was closer to the time when this occurred in my classroom, I could click these bars and get an even more detailed view of what Josie was inputting as answers, how many seconds it was taking her to answer. So I know that if she input her first response, 3 seconds in, I know that she probably didn't even read the question very well and is just guessing. I know I can look at these problems and pretty quickly diagnose, well, she's adding when she should be subtracting, or maybe she's not recognizing the minus sign, represents a negative or something like that. Either way, I just get a little bit more information than I would have gotten if, again, if I had just assigned 20 problems on a worksheet. So that's one of the graphs I'll use. Let's see. Students, I kind of show them, but in a special ed situation, you may use a graph like that and then try to differentiate your class setup or the way you use students the second day, or maybe just individualize your instruction to the particular students that are struggling. Let's do something like this. Let's do progress. Focus chart. I really like this. Again, I'm going to go to extend that range. Sorry, pictures in the way. I'm going to go further back. Let's go January to May. These are the particular students that Holly was working on, or students. These are particular skills that she was working on from January 19th to May 15th. And again, I can click them and open up. Let's just do that. Equation practice with congruent angles. Worked for a total of 51 minutes. That's not in one setting. 7 correct out of 10, not bad. I can see that she struggled a little bit early on, but then knocked out 5 in a row after that. This is called a focus chart. This is another graph that's kind of nice. Individual students, in your case, you may want to get a better peek at how they were doing on specific skills. I don't know. It's something you could share with parents. Okay, back here. Last but not least, I should have started with this, Jason. Here's the math section. K to 2, they literally start with counting and telling time, up to probability, statistics, pre-calculus, differential calculus, integral. You see. 6th grade. You may have 6th grade level. It's immediately by default going to open up this mission warm-up. You don't have to do these. Your students don't have to do them. Khan Academy's got some intricate algorithms they use to determine proficiency, and this is one way that they do that. They give them these mission warm-ups. They sort of pre-test them. It helps tailor the exercises to that student. In my opinion, that's only useful if the student's completely self-paced, with no direction from you. So I would skip that. View the full list of 6th grade content right here, and here's where you got a breakdown of Common Core standards. These are like the what do you call it? They're not the main ideas, I guess. Inside arithmetic operations, you've got a lot of things representative of the standards. So you see what the videos are, you see the exercises. And honestly, a lot of times I dig for exercises just by using this. Even this year I'll go to like Algebra 1 and search through and find some exercises that I think would benefit the students. Jason, I've got 30 seconds left of this recording. On the free version, I can only do 15 minutes. I'm sorry I didn't mean to speak this long. I hope this is somewhat of a start, just to sort of get you started if you wanted to pursue Khan Academy. Let me know if you have any questions.